Way, welcome back everybody. My name is Dean from Scenescapeshop and this is your Coffee Break Thursday. You all look lovely. Now, this week I wanted to paint what I originally painted when I first started painting, but again, or at least something very similar. I started painting using the wet on wet technique made famous by Bob Ross and introduced, as I've said before, by a chap called Bill Alexander. And basically it's putting liquid white over a canvas, then throwing some colour on it and blending it on the canvas to produce very quick but very effective landscape painting. This is the painting that I originally did for my first work of art. And you can see the ideas are there, the mountains and the trees and the sky and the lake and the reflection and stuff. The ideas are there, but the execution isn't particularly great. The mud that was made on the mountain, because I wasn't able to blend, or maybe I blended too much the mountain together. The sky's okay, but the clouds are a little bit strange. And the trees, reflection is not really great. That's it. Comparing that with something I did just recently, which would be that, and you can see the improvement that's been made. Not saying this is perfect, folks. All I'm saying is it's better than it was. And I just wanted to show people who are just starting out in art that over time you improve, and things like mountain detail in particular will look a lot better the more paintings that you do. Comparing the two, which I do love to do, that rhymed and it was well timed. I love seeing how artists develop over time, comparing their first works of art with more recent works of art. I'm not saying this is perfect, remember folks, don't worry about it, everyone, all the professional artists that sell artwork for thousands and thousands of dollars and pounds. I'm not saying it's perfect, just saying it's better. And there's another example, challenged myself to do one in half an hour, which was my second painting, I think it was, back in the day. You can see the way the mountain has mud on it, and it's very sort of rigid, triangular almost. Clouds aren't blended particularly well, trees aren't great, and the reflection doesn't really look like a reflection. It looks like paint, it doesn't look like a reflection. Whereas with this more recently, but again, you can see the difference over time in two very similar paintings in terms of what the image is made up of, the composition, but two very different looking paintings. So I thought I'd paint that. Now, Scenescapeshop does offer something called family landscapes, somewhat uniquely. It's a lovely thing for a gift, or it's a lovely thing to buy for yourself as a treat for your family home. Family landscapes are just landscapes, but they are representative of your family. So when people see them in your living room, hanging above your fireplace, they go, that's a lovely landscape, very pretty. Let's move on to the kitchen and have a sandwich. Whereas actually, it represents your family. It's not just a landscape. The mountains actually represent you and your partner. The clouds might represent your parents. Or prominent trees could represent children and grandchildren, and so on and so forth. So actually, it's your own individual commissioned artwork that represents your family. What a lovely idea. But it's Coffee Break Thursday, you know what to do. Pop the kettle on, make yourself a cup of coffee, put your feet up, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Cheers, by the way.
Okay, just wanted to cut in here just to explain quickly how I do trees. So all I'm doing now is laying down the background to the trees. So it's a dark color. It's a mix of a little bit of black, a little bit of Prussian blue, some alizarin crimson, and quite a lot of sap green. That's just so that the green pulls through in the shading of the trees. All we're doing is sort of laying down the template of each tree, and we'll go over it later with highlights. And with all the dark paint that's left on the brush, just seen as now just brushing down on the canvas, straight down, and that just gives the reflection in the still lake that's going to be there. You'll see what I mean when we put the highlights in the reflection as well, and it's really effective when you pull it down as one once the highlights are on. With the highlights, what we need to make sure to prevent just making mud on the painting is to make sure that the highlights are a thinner consistency than what this dark color is. So thin paint sticks to thick paint. So just mix it in with some liquid white, get some autumn colors on your brush, and when you put the paint on the brush, just push up on the paintbrush, and that gives that sort of tree and foliage effect. We also need to put in some tree trunks and branches. All I've done here is mix some titanium white with some sienna brown. And don't forget your reflections as well. And it's not too important this part because the highlights do go over the tree trunks, because otherwise it would look very odd if a tree trunk sort of grew in front of the tree. So we do have to hide it a little bit. It's just so that that detail is there should you look closely. All right, that's us just about done, folks. Thank you once again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.